Hey, welcome back. It's Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. Today's little topic of, topic du jour, topic of the day, topic of your relationship edification is 7 ways to get a man closer to you, even if he's grown distant. Because when a guy becomes cold, distant, detached, or he pulls away from you, it's a pretty scary sensation, isn't it? It just engages you on all levels. I remember when I was dating, and if a woman started to grow distant from me or wasn't very into the conversation, if it was a woman I just met, it was this core sensation inside me of, oh no, don't go away. Now, that traces itself back to, of course, what? Yeah, our childhood and how we related to our parents and how well attached we were growing up. So when a guy does do this to you, I'm sure it's a panic sensation. It might even remind you of when one or both of your parents were cold and hard to connect with as a kid, and that sends your system into all kinds of panic. When someone you really love isn't close to you, or it seems like they're withdrawing their love, it's a real shock to your emotional system. It's sometimes hard to keep a man interested. He might become aloof and distant, and you don't even know why it's happening. And I do reveal the reason for this, by the way, as to why men grow distant in my free ebook, 7 Mistakes That Push Him Away. You can get that at the site, by the way. So go on over to datingadviceguru.com and just put your email in there and you can get a free copy of that book. But the real question most women have is how to get him closer to you, even if he's growing distant from you, right? Pull him back. Get him back into your arms. And it's important because you have to have a deep emotional bond with a man to keep him interested in you and the relationship. And the same is true for the woman in the relationship. You won't stay close if your emotional intimacy needs aren't getting met. The reality for women, however, is that they know they can't compete with younger, slimmer girls that might come along. So it's vital that you understand how to keep your man connected to you by using the power of his emotions. Emotions are your secret weapon against all the giggly bombshells that try to sneak in and they try to grab his eye. All right, that's your secret weapon. And I'm going to show you how to wield that weapon here in this particular podcast. Let's jump right in. Get him closer to you. Tip number 1, keep the flow. Now I'm going to give you a pretty deadly trick right up front here. You have to get your man to open up to you and be comfortable confiding in you. Unfortunately, in many of the couples I've seen, they have a well-rehearsed routine of cutting each other off, making it difficult to connect. And this is going to create a rift between you if you keep doing it. These patterns have a way of just going wild on you. Here's what happens. Man feels vulnerable and he wants to tell her what he's feeling. But he remembers the last few times he's tried opening up and telling her the uncomfortable truth and how she made him feel shamed or wrong for his feelings. He feels like he's about to put his hand in the fire and pulls back. She senses his distance and tries to pull him back in. And now he is in full-blown panic mode as he tries to get away from her, thinking that she's just being needy. And finger quotes. You can't see them, but they're there. You can probably see how that dynamic can get out of control. You have to keep the flow of communication flowing at all costs. Yeah, in order to do this, you have to follow my next tip. Stop him from pulling away from you. Tip number 2, keep him safe. So in order to make a man feel safe enough to open up to you and be vulnerable, he has to know that there are no consequences whatsoever for opening up to you. Some of the possible consequences he might think there are would be, you get angry at him. Men work very, very hard to avoid disapproval from a woman. Very hard, okay? You withhold sex from him. That's another consequence he sees. Again, a man has a deep need for sexual intimacy with his partner, and he will do anything to avoid that. And women do typically turn off from sex very easily, so that, of course, puts him out in the cold. You will go silent. Just as bad as you getting angry, but worse because this means you're playing games by using the silent treatment. And now he feels like it's a power struggle, a power play. Remember that if a guy feels safe enough to reveal what he's thinking and feeling, you won't be in the dark as to what's going on with him. But every so often a woman will cut him off and hold a petty grudge that pushes him away from her. Not only does this create distance in their emotional intimacy, it also makes it more likely he'll try to get that intimacy somewhere else. Yes, that's right. If a woman comes along with a sympathetic ear, she will snake him right out from under you, simply by knowing how most women push their men away. Keep him close to you. Tip number 3, keep him satisfied. As I mentioned above, one of the ways that women sabotage their intimacy with a man is to play games with the sex in their relationship. Let me tell you one of Carlos's rules for relationships. Carlos's rule of intimacy: never deny a man physical intimacy in your relationship. Now, I know I'm already hearing the public outcry. I can see that the torches are being lit. The angry mob is coming to my house. Look, hold off. Let me explain. This doesn't mean you have to do it when you're not in the mood. What it means is that you want to focus on getting in the mood if that's what it takes. Remember, a lot of women think that men are all emotionally damaged and incapable of connection. The truth is that men are just as capable of deep and intimate emotional connection. But what most women don't understand is that the part that's missing when it comes into a relationship is a woman who understands what men fear most in relationships. Men fear a relationship that limits his freedom. Plain and simple, that's the thing you have to watch out for most. If he feels like he's not going to be able to do what he wants when he wants to, even if he isn't actually planning to do it, he'll always feel controlled and imprisoned. He needs autonomy. He needs the freedom to do what makes him happy. Even if he doesn't do it, he needs to believe he has the freedom to do it. Don't worry, this freedom won't mean he'll run away from you. It means he'll be pulling you into his adventures. All right, stop him from pulling away from you. Tip number 4, make him your hero. Men want to be a woman's hero. We want you to adore us and respect us. Again, this is not what usually happens with many relationships. Resentment and contempt sneak in, usually appearing with an eye roll at every situation that you don't like. Okay, now show him you adore him instead. I guarantee you this will work about 1,000% better than any eye roll or any other method of manipulation you can think of. And one of the best ways you can show him you adore him is through physical affection. Most women are naturally open with their physical appreciation and affection, especially to other women. But if you're not giving him the right amount of love and affection, usually depending on his connection type or his connection code, well, then he's not going to feel connected to you. You need to caress, touch, and love him in the right way. There are 2 kinds of touch. Number 1, pulling touch. These are the women that have a kind of needy aura about them. They feel like they're always pulling on their man, and that's why he tries to pull away from her. This isn't loving touch. It's insecure touching. That is a physical expression of her fears. Number 2 kind of touch is giving touch. These are the women that men long to be around. These are the women we love because they know how to give caresses of affection that every man hungers for. It's like being petted like a cat, but not in an annoying way, okay? Give him as much of that number 2 affection as you possibly can, and you'll understand and you really discover how much he is willing to connect with you. Stop him from pulling away from you. Tip number 5, chill and be fun, yo. Okay, this is one of those dating cliches, but you have to feel good about your own life before you can invite a man into it. Now think about it. If a guy has a choice of where to go on Saturday night, will he go here, the quiet, sleepy library, or will he go to the exciting and fun dance club? Which one do you think he'll find most appealing? Well, definitely if he's looking for something exciting, he's going to want to go to the exciting dance club. Yes, there are many times he will want to sit at home with you and do nothing. But that's after he knows that you're not a buzzkill, okay? There are more than enough men and women out there that are not happy, that go looking for a relationship to hide that unhappiness in. And it never works this way. I'm betting you know that from past experience, huh? Remember, you can't run from your issues. You can only rediscover them hiding out in your next romance. Stop him from pulling away from you. Tip number 6, let the air out. One of the biggest reasons men pull away from a relationship is that they feel there's too much pressure to make the relationship go somewhere. Inevitably, one of the first things a woman wants to know is if the relationship has potential. She sits him down and she has the talk with him, right? Where is this going? What am I to you? Are you planning to marry me? Am I getting a ring or what? Look, we get it. Eventually, a woman wants some commitment and a lasting feeling of safety in the relationship. She wants to know that the energy she's putting in, not to mention the opening of her heart, is going to pay off for her. Men want this lasting connection too. We just don't want the never-ending pressure of hearing the question 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. So what you have to do is to start letting the pressure out of the relationship and keep things as relaxed as you can. All right, it seems like something you have to balance, and yeah, you do. That's part of the balance of a relationship. Keep your interrogations to a minimum. Don't get ahead of yourself in the relationship. Here's another little Carlos secret. The women that get the most proposals never seek out those proposals. Why? Because they're not putting that pressure on their man. Stop him from pulling away from you. Tip number 7, stay connected. The connection that a man feels with a woman is ultimately what tells him how he feels about her. If the connection is weak or inconsistent, that's what he thinks the relationship is. So how do you control that feeling of connection with him? Well, being connected to a guy is not as hard as you might think. It simply requires knowing what his connection code is. You see, men come in different shapes and sizes, but we also come in 5 primary connection codes. Bull, dog, turtle, cat, and lamb. Yeah, this is like the zodiac of personalities and compatibility, only this is based in science and real-world psychology. Each of these codes, these distinct connection codes, is distinct and unique. If you treat a bull the same as a cat, well, you're going to scare that kind of guy away. What women don't realize is that the guy who matches your connection style is the same guy that romances you nonstop. He's the guy that shares his feelings and dreams and hopes with you. He's the man that can't stop thinking about you no matter how hard he tries. He's the guy in your life that will literally get down on both knees to beg to share your life with him. He's the man that doesn't notice other women when you're around, no matter what sexy lure she tries to use on him to steal him away. He will be there for you because he knows you can give him what no other woman can. True understanding and acceptance. Really, really huge there. If you think men are looking for their true love, you've probably been brainwashed by bad magazine articles and romantic comedies. Both of those, by the way, are meant to sell at the grocery store and the movie theater. They're not meant to help you land happiness in a relationship. Think about it. If somebody could write a magazine article that would solve your relationship problems, well, why hasn't it actually worked by now? Huh? Well, if you're ready to discover the truth from a man who can tell you what men think, I'm ready to tell you. Let's go on over to datingadviceguru.com/connection code, where I'll show you how those connection codes, those different connection types of guys work. And you'll be able to figure out what kind of guy you've got and get that proposal you want so badly. Or maybe just the commitment you want from him. Go on over to datingadviceguru.com/connection code. I'll be talking again soon. This is Carlos Cavallo. As always, what I want you to do, ladies, live and love with passion.
datingadviceguru.com, the Dating Advice Guru podcast and YouTube content, and all content herein is copyright Morpheus Productions, LLC. Feel free to contact Carlos at www.datingadviceguru.com, on the forum, or click the Ask Carlos link on the site. We welcome your comments and questions.